We're back, folks. Freedom Forum on this, the 11th day of the 11th month of the year of our Lord Jesus the Christ, 2015. Jimbo.
I'm going to read the prayer. This is a Veterans Day prayer. Dear Lord, today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect their country. We pray that you will bless them for their unselfish service in the continual struggle to preserve our freedoms, our safety, and our country's heritage for all of us. Bless them abundantly for the hardships they faced, for the sacrifices they made, for their many different contributions to America's victories over tyranny and oppression. We respect them, we thank them, we honor them, we are proud of them, and we pray that you will watch over these special people and bless them with peace and happiness. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Got that
All right.
Friend in New Orleans.
And we'll have more on that in a moment. Meeting tomorrow night at the Robichaux Center,
Yep.
Acadiana Patriots.
I wrote out two different things here. First, I said Happy Veterans Day from the Acadiana Patriots. Acadiana Patriots monthly meeting is November 12th, starting at 6 p.m. at the Robichaux Recreation Center, located at 1919 Eras Landry Road, right across the street from Cox. We will honor all veterans attending the meeting. We will have Holly Talley, local director of the Concerned Veterans for America, telling us about our organization. And this is important. Every year we do something for the Jennings Veterans Home. The director told me that one of the items they need are stamps. So if you could bring at least one or more books of stamps, it would be appreciated. Or call me at 654-2805. Now, the other part of the meeting, I wrote in here, and come join us at the meeting and bring a friend, because this is a very critical time in the history of our country. As they say in the Navy, all hands on deck. Hope to see you there. God bless America. We have 5 candidates who are in the runoffs that will speak for 10 minutes each, and after all have spoken, we will have a meet and greet. The 5 are Billy Nungesser for Lieutenant Governor, Jean-Paul Cousin for State Representative District 45, Andy Nakhan, City Council District 6, also Mark Garber and Chad Leger running for Lafayette Parish Sheriff. This will, again, be your chance to meet the candidates. If time allows, there will be updates on the election.
Very good.
Easy to get there, I'm telling you.
And we'll make mention that the candidates whose opponents are not going to be there, the opponents were invited.
Everybody was emailed. Let me just, this is down the road a little bit, but Sunday, December 6th, 2015, military veterans will lead the parade, the Sonic Christmas Parade. The parade begins at 1 p.m. in downtown Lafayette and ends in the Oil Center. Veterans will assemble at noon at the corner of Jefferson and Vine Street. There's a whole, I'll put an email out on this. I'm going to copy this and put an email on it. I've walked in this 3 out of 4 years. It's pretty awesome. And we all, the biggest thing is for the veterans that can't walk and they're disabled, we have arrangements for a vehicle for them. So it's a lot of fun, depending on the weather.
Yeah.
But
Okay. Of course, we'll keep you posted on that event. That's not till December 6th, the Christmas parade.
yeah, I have 3 things that day.
We've got, is that thing ready to go, Tom? Okay. We've got 3 little clips because it's not a wheelbarrow and we're not exactly technically gazunt here. We're going to run 3 clips in a row. So bear with us. You got Dr. Carson, what's Savage's first name? I don't remember. Michael Savage. And then another presidential candidate, Tom Cruise, on What? Ted Cruz.
Ted
Oh, okay.
Cruz.
I'm getting him
Tom
confused with the, with that skinny little actor.
He was at the LSU game.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Those three clips will be running. We'll just run them back to back.
And I
get
fought for you.
Some interesting clips. Well, that's on another one. We got to redo
Yeah.
that. And then we'll have another one. Hopefully, it'll work. Hopefully these will work. Cross your fingers.
This is AOC.
That machine, the next time it messes up, I might do something nasty. Yeah, I'll throw a cup of coffee on it or something, yeah. Okay, let's try it.
I never said I received a full scholarship.
Get rid of us.
I never said that I received a full scholarship. Nowhere did I say that. Politico, as you know, told a bold-faced lie. They've been called out on that by the Washington Post and by the New York Times, and I'm sure there'll be several others who will call them out on that because there are actually some people with integrity in your business. No, she said that I got a scholarship. I never said I got a scholarship. I had people who said yes, that I could get a scholarship to West Point.
Yeah,
I told them
he
that I
didn't.
wasn't interested, that I was going to pursue this. I do not remember.
I told you it's not a wheelbarrow.
For one President Barack Obama when he was running. In fact, I remember just the opposite. I remember people just, oh, well, we won't really talk about that. We won't talk about that relationship. Well, Frank Marshall Davis, oh, we don't want to talk about that. Breeding Dorn, Bill Ayers, oh, you didn't really know him. You know, all the things that
Jeremiah Wright was saying, not a big problem. Goes to Occidental College. I never said I received a full scholarship. I never, wait a minute, don't lie. I never said that I received a full scholarship. Nowhere did I say that.
There have been reports today is what I'm trying to
Politico, as you know, told a bold-faced lie. They've been called out on that by the Washington Post and by the New York Times, and I'm sure there'll be several others who will call them out on that because there are actually some people with integrity in your business.
What I'm trying to get at
You
is
just said, you just told me that you got a scholarship offer. You just said that.
No, she said that I got a scholarship. I never said I got a scholarship.
So
I
you
had
didn't get a
people.
scholarship.
I had people who said yes that I could get a scholarship to West Point, and I told them that I wasn't interested, that I was going to pursue medicine. I do not remember this level of scrutiny for one President Barack Obama when he was running. In fact, I remember just the opposite. I remember people just, oh, well, we won't really talk about that. We won't talk about that relationship. Well, Frank Marshall Davis, well, we don't want to talk about that. Bernadine Dorn, Bill Ayers, he didn't really know him. You know, all the things that Jeremiah Wright was saying, not a big problem. Goes to Occidental College, doesn't do all that well, and somehow ends up at Columbia University. Well, I don't know. His records are sealed. Why is his record sealed? Why are you guys not interested in why his records are sealed? Why are you not interested in that? Let me ask that. Can somebody tell me why,
Why do
please?
you think they are?
I'm asking you why it's sealed. Why? No, don't change it. I'm asking you, will someone tell me, please, why you have not investigated that? I want to know.
Why are you raising it?
Why? Because I want to know. You should want to know too. The president, wait a minute, hold on 1 minute. 1 second here. Now you're saying that something that happened with the words, a scholarship was offered, is a big deal, but the President of the United States, his academic records being sealed is not? Tell me, wait a minute, tell me how there's equivalency there. It doesn't matter where it is. Tell me how, that is a silly argument. Tell me how there's equivalence there. Tell me how there is equivalence there. Tell me somebody, please. Because you see, what you're not going to find with me is somebody who's just going to sit back and let you be completely unfair without letting the American people know what's going on. And the American people are waking up to your games.
Socialism is suddenly popular in America. How's that possible? Because the drugged morons don't even know what it is. They don't know what it has wrought. They don't know where it leads. They have no idea what it'll do to them. Now, couple that with bringing in as many Islamic fascists as you possibly can, as quickly as you can. Why? Why are they bringing in so many young men of military age into Europe, into America? What's their game plan here? And now throw in what you're talking about, confiscation of guns. It ain't happening, Alex. It would not Australia. Australia had no Second Amendment. That's number one. And I will remind you and your audience, and this is the most important thing, Alex, I'm sorry for the day. I have a tape that I keep playing on my radio show from Elena Kagan when she was appointed to the Supreme Court. when she went through the fake hearing, the kangaroo fake hearing of whether she should be appointed or not, she was asked about the Second Amendment. So Elena Kagan, when she was grilled, fake grilled, she says, where do you stand on guns? And she says, the Second Amendment is established law. The Second Amendment is established law. Well, if it's established law, how could Barry from Honolulu take your guns? How could the witch from Arkansas or Chappaqua?
I agree with you, but they're openly licking their chops is what I'm saying. I agree it'll start a civil war. I agree they're not going to get away with it, but they're openly now, Hillary, Obama, others saying we do need to look at confiscation. That's a bold move. Why are they shooting their mouths off?
There was a time not too long ago when the Democrats would never even touch God, guns, and gays. Remember that time not so long ago? But Barry from Honolulu is such a slick con artist that he's so hoodwinked the American drug addict that they actually think it's time for socialism, gun seizure, no borders, and flood America with your Muslim brethren. The people are stupid and they're drugged, Alec. And they sense they could get away with it. But you know what? They're reading the tea leaves wrong. There'll be a revolution and they're going to lose, Alex. There are too many guns and too many people ready to fight them. I'm not calling for revolution. They are. Let's be very clear. I am a man of peace. I am a man of peace. But we have gangsters running this country. Criminals, gangsters. What the hell is this highway bill all about? The first day, I'm sorry for yelling.
No, we're normal. We see total criminal takeover, the death of freedom, the death of the West, and these crazy socialists that so hate freedom that they want to bring in the most radical Sunni Wahhabiist to run around and rape people, and the Swiss and Dutch and all the rest of these police just let them go under orders. I mean, it's just crazy that we've gotten to this point, and it's normal to get angry. We need to get people out of their coma. How do we do that?
I got to go back to Paul Ryan. He gives a speech today that I hear on ABC News about the highway bill. Listen to this. The first day he gives a speech, what's it about? The highway bill. Who was it who was pushing the highway bill for years now? Nancy Pelosi. Put two and two together. Why is it a highway bill that's on the top of their list?
Because Pelosi supported him.
Why does Pelosi push it?
Because
There's an old adage, all roads lead to Rome. You ever hear that one going back to ancient times? All roads lead to Rome. That's as far as I can go without winding up with lead shoes in the bottom of San Francisco Bay. And I'll let it hang in the air. It is the most corrupt, degenerate, criminal government in American history. And I'm not saying this for effect, nor to sell a book. I'm trying to awaken people. Unfortunately, Alec, your audience is already awakened. They're agitated. They're ready to strike. They don't know what to do. But look at the morons around you. Go walk in the streets.
They're zombies.
You know, I walked in San Francisco yesterday, the most beautiful city. I love it to death. I'm walking through a park near the Embarcadero, and without being graphic, I'm an old Boy Scout, so I read footprints in the woods, and I can read droppings in the woods. I was taught how to follow droppings of what kind of animal it is. Well, there was a dropping on the ground on the sidewalk that I said there are no bears in the city. How could this can't be a bear?
Well, it's an admitted record problem in San Francisco, public defecation, and now in government buildings, even when they have bathrooms, they're so mentally ill that they just enjoy crapping in public.
What does that say about a civilization, Alex, that people are allowed to crap without they're having their heads broken open by a cop? In my day, if a guy did that, a big Irish cop would smash him on the head with a nightstick and drag him into the prison and hose him down and throw him into a jail and leave him there. What is it all about? So the public defecation could be stopped in 1 second, right? So what is this about? It's to constantly lower the standards of the middle class, constantly dehumanize the middle class.
That's it.
Right? Dehumanize, desensitize, weaken until eventually they have no resistance to whatever the evil criminal gangsters in the regime might do next. No borders, no language, no culture. What does that matter? Leftist says, hey, savage, what the heck are you so excited about? What do you need a border for? And what are you holding on to English for? Your parents were immigrants, weren't they, Michael? Yes. And so what's your point, Larry? I was on Larry King last week. But I actually like Larry King. But you know why, Alex? He's a liberal, old school, nice liberal, smart, but not vicious. Totally different than the new generation of progressive psychos, right? So he says to me, your parents were immigrants, so what are you afraid of someone not speaking English? I said, I don't care what language they speak at home. My grandmother never spoke a word of English. But my father drilled into me, you're in America. Learn English. Learn it the best way you can. Become an American. You're not living anywhere else. Be an American. That's not the ethos of this generation, is it? Do you hear them teaching their children learn English? They're teaching them learn anything but English. Stamp on the country that's so good to you. Don't learn their language. There is no culture there. How long has the left taught us that America has no culture? It's an acculturated nation. That we're a nation with no culture.
They want to get rid of our culture so they can then download into us their sick, mentally ill culture. And you were one of the first to say this, but more and more it's clear. The top liberals are vicious mafia social engineers, as you've documented, but their minions really are mentally ill basket cases. I'm sure you saw the Atlantic Monthly article a few weeks ago about the coddled generation admitting, and these are leftists saying, that their college students have now become like these weird Maoist youth brigades that shout them down for just any language. They are complete fascist basket cases that just flip out and now want to ban the word mother and father.
You're a father, Alec. You know that children need discipline. You know what happens when you raise them without discipline. They become animals. I was in a Chinese restaurant last night in San Francisco. I love a dumpy restaurant that I go to. There was a kid, two of them, running around screaming at the top of the lungs. I mean, screeching, where the food, you couldn't even digest it. Now, I wasn't going to say anything because, you know, what are you going to do? I looked at the father. He was a nice-looking guy, not a weakling, but indulgent, afraid to say no to Johnny. The type that when Johnny defecates in his hand and wipes it on the wall, he will say, Johnny is an artist. That's a Chagall he just painted. Don't wipe it off the wall. These people are crazy.
They are.
No, they have no discipline themselves. Remember, if the father's 30, 32, 33, right, he may look good. He may be. What's amazing to me is that these guys are well built. They all go to the gym, right, Alex? They all got abs, but they have no cerebrum.
They don't have the minds of men.
He's like zomboids walking around, wild, crazy children. This child's made to be only one thing, which is a tort lawyer. That's all he can grow up to be. And if he fails at that, he can become a government worker. But aside from the facetiousness, okay, discipline gone, society going, breaking down, at the top gangster regime, sucking us dry. Paul Ryan, first speech, highway bill, highway bill, highway bill. Who's in the highway building business? Who makes the trillions off the highway bill? Are you in the highway business? You don't
No,
know
but Nancy Pelosi went into Congress worth about $500,000. Now she's worth hundreds of millions, and her husband suddenly became worth billions. She's a nice lady. Of course, I'm sure she's friends with Don Corleone.
Very nice. She's a sweet grandmother. And you know, what's also nice about Pelosi is the fact that her brother-in-law got about a $1.2 billion loan from the government for a solar plant in the Nevada desert. And he did so well in producing about a megawatt of energy for it that they gave him another $800 million, according to what I've recently read. How come it's not in any of the newspapers? Have you ever seen corruption like this? Couldn't even go on today.
Yeah, what's wrong with Harry Reid giving billions in contracts to his sons? He's got like 4 or 5 of them. That's nothing. That shouldn't even be in the news. I mean, how dare you do your research? It's totally normal.
The Republican Party? There is none. It's a one-party system, oligarchy. All the conservatives that were put in last year were put at the back of the bus. Remember how much hope we had in November when I wrote, Stop the Coming Civil War? I said, hold your nose, go vote for Republicans, and we'll put their feet to the fire after they win. Guess what? Boehner has no feet. McConnell has no feet. There's no feet to put on the fire. They're empty shells. They were never men. They were never there. They were factotums of Barry from Honolulu. One party, period. It is a fascist dictatorship. He wants to crush us under his fist. He is the worst monster in the history of America. And if he uses an executive order to go around Congress on immigration, we need 10 million people immediately demanding that an impeachment hearing be started, whether or not those cowardly, useless gangster Republicans do it or not. We need a people's tribunal.
Radioactive contamination is now in most of the food supply. There's only 2 ways to avoid this. Move south of the equator or properly protect your thyroid with nascent iodine. Secure your super high quality nascent iodine today at InfoWarsLife.com.
In the wake of Sandy Hook, in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting, a statistic surfaced putting support for background checks at 90%. There was 4 polls that come. Did you go against the want of the nation with your vote against the Mansion Toomey? And also, how does public opinion shape your response to national problems?
You know, there's an old line that there are lies, damn lies, and statistics. You're right, that was a poll that was bandied around a lot, but you can find a lot of results in a poll depending on how you frame the question. As you and I both know, we have a system of background checks in place right now. If either of us goes to a federally licensed firearms dealer, there's a background check that's put in place. What Mansion Toomey was trying to do is extend that to every private sale between two individuals. Put the federal government, not in terms of having a system of background checks for federally licensed dealers, but for you and me, for two guys in a duck blind, selling their shotgun one to the other. And the federal government doesn't have any business there. And if you ask the American people that, they don't want the federal government getting in between private consensual sales between individual citizens. And I would note that, you know, when you asked about the role of public opinions polls, when it comes to constitutional rights, what matters is what the Bill of Rights says. It doesn't matter what might be popular at the moment. We've seen regimes across the face of the earth come and take away people's guns, strip away their rights to defend themselves, and sometimes it's been very popular. And yet, it is an inevitable prelude to tyranny. Our country was founded on a radical proposition, which is that our rights don't come from government. They come from God. And the purpose of the Constitution, Thomas Jefferson said the Constitution serves as chains to bind the mischief of government. And the entire reason for the Second Amendment is not for hunting, it's not for target shooting. Those are both wonderful. It's great to go with your family, with your kids, to go hunting, to get to go skeet shooting, but that's not what the Second Amendment is for. The Second Amendment is there so that you and I can protect our homes and our families and our children and our lives. And it's also there as a fundamental check on government tyranny. And that ultimately is not subject to public opinion polls. It's subject to the express protections of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution.
Thanks. That's it.
3 teens were arrested today for defacing the Kensington Park War Memorial overnight. Three teens were arrested today for defacing the Kensington Park War Memorial overnight. The destruction includes painted messages against the military and the war in the Middle East. The 3 teens were picked up in the early morning hours after evidence was left at the scene.
Grandpa, something wrong?
Some people sure have short memories, and those who are too young to know need to be taught. Come on, I want to show you guys something.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy. The United States of America was suddenly and deliberately attacked by naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan.
At dawn on the morning of the 6th of June, 1944, 225 Rangers jumped off the British landing craft and ran to the bottom of these cliffs. 225 came here. After 2 days of fighting, only 90 could still bear arms. These are the boys of Puente Hovo. These are the men who took the cliffs. These are the champions who helped free a continent. These are the heroes who helped end a war. You are men who in your, quote, lives fought for life and left the vivid air signed with your honor.
In the name of God and country, I learned to defy gravity.
To honor my family, I lived in the belly of a beast.
I fixed the hearts of iron monsters.
I became a worm in the mud for dignity.
For honor.
For righteousness' sake.
For God and country.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
For you.
For you.
For you.
For you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you.
I fought for you, and I do it again.
It's like they're,
Are we getting a feedback? Must, okay. Very good.
what happened to our background?
Do what?
We're in the dark.
Those videos are the present and the past. The first three tell it like it is for what's going on now. And understand what Ted Cruz said. Second Amendment is not about hunting. Okay, it's the last line of defense for we the people. And I'm gonna say something controversial. I've said it before though. This is not something new. The reality is, and I was one of those, okay, I was ready to die for this country, and the Army didn't want me to, obviously. I'm still here. But I was wrong for the right reasons. I even debated at USL some left-wingers, the Young Democrats, in a formal debate over the righteousness, if you will, of the Vietnam War back then. They were wrong for the right reasons, and I was, no, excuse me, they were right for the wrong reasons, and I was wrong for the right reasons. And that, I mean, we had the best intentions, those of us that were in back then. The problem is our government betrayed us. And in reality, no American has died for the rights of the people in this country, for our freedom, directly, except the guys in gray and butternut that ended with the end of Reconstruction in 1873. The second revolution, 1861-65 revolution, was the last time formally Americans died for the rights of their fellow Americans. What has happened since then has been well documented. I'm not going to get into that. Understand, though, that this does not detract from what guys like Jim here have done, what the other veterans have done, because they did it with the sincerest of intentions, the best of intentions for the most part. And the problem is, again, they were betrayed. Since the War of 1812, and even that war, there's some interesting problems with it. This country has not fought a single just war since then. There have always been ulterior motives, behind the scenes monkey shines, of all kinds and descriptions, manner, and the historical record is there, people. You cannot dispute that. Again, it does not detract, though, from what the veterans did, with all sincerity and honesty. They thought they were fighting for us. After all, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Well, people today, a lot of them, including our vice president, claim the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. What? What? Excuse me? You got to understand history, folks. And the understanding of history comes at a price. And the price is your vainglorious idealism about how peace-loving America is. It's not. And the stuff that Patton said in his speech at the beginning of the movie, Patton, the actual words that he spoke to his army when he took command of 3rd Army in 1944. And he was right. Americans love war. We have been educated since the 19th century to be good warriors, good soldiers, good followers of the people in Washington, D.C. and their bosses, the George Soroses of the world. Now we're entering a period of time where we will get to defend ourselves. It's coming. You heard in those first videos. And the military is not happy with what's going on in this country. What they finally realize is that they were betrayed without us having to go into great lengthy academic discussions about history, etc. Military veterans all over the country and people inside the military are waking up. Mm-hmm. And that's the purpose of this show. This is real world here. I'm giving you the real world, people. Not pie in the sky, not what these churches are doing by betraying their Christian heritage. And you can honor the veterans. The veterans are to be honored for their service and their sacrifice. But, by the same token, the word has to get out. What has really transpired in our history has got to get out. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and this is just one example. We could go into detail on every situation throughout the history of this country back to the War of 1812. It's there. The evidence is there. But Franklin Delano Roosevelt goaded the Japanese into attacking Pearl Harbor and knew they were coming. Okay? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He knew they were coming. We had broken the code a long time before that. The Pearl Harbor attack was an actual U.S. naval paper written after the Italian fleet was sunk at Taranto Harbor in 1940 by British biplane torpedo bombers. And a what-if paper was written up shortly thereafter by U.S. naval officers that the Japanese who planned the Pearl Harbor attack used as the basis for it. The strategic aspects of the Pearl Harbor attack were laid out in a paper in the 30s by a naval officer. The title was something to the effect of, what would it take to get the Japanese to attack the U.S.? And he listed 7 things. And the U.S. government promptly went out and did all 7 of those things to incite the Japanese into attacking in 1941. The reason? Very plain. FDR could not whip up anti-war fervor against the Germans. And they actually did. After the Pearl Harbor attack, they sent a team to Hawaii to interview as many people as they could find and examine wreckage of enemy aircraft to see if any of them were German, to see if anybody saw any swastikas, so he'd have an excuse to declare war on Germany right then too. But he had none. And 2 days later, Adolf Hitler obliged him and declared war on the U.S. along with Italy. And so hey, it was done. But you see, their psychologists back then knew Adolf was going to do it. Don't kid yourself. So that's just one example. I'm not going to go into the rest of them tonight. And since then, we've been a very warmonger society. We've been a very imperialistic country. Well, why are we here then? Well, we're trying to turn this around. We're trying to return back to our roots, back to our constitutional roots. There hasn't been a declared war since when? 1943, when the U.S. declared war on Romania, Hungary, and Bulgaria, who were allied with the Germans. They finally got around to declaring war on them. There has not been a declared war fought by U.S. forces since 1945 and the end of the Second World War with the signing of the peace treaty on the battleship Missouri. That's the only time the U.S. can go to war, unless we're attacked, directly attacked. Oh, but Pearl Harbor, that was an attack. Well, if Pearl Harbor was the kind of attack that the founding fathers considered, we would not have egged them into doing it. The Japanese could have attacked the west coast of the United States with almost impunity. We had no forces to speak of on the west coast, and they knew it. But guess what stopped them?
Yeah, that was the interesting.
Guess what stopped them? Our Article II firearms. Okay? Our Second Amendment stopped the Japanese from attacking, from landing on the west coast of the United States. Okay? Oh, by the way, Hawaii was not American soil. Hawaii was conquered. The Hawaiian queen at the time was conquered surreptitiously, clandestinely, and then with military and police force to turn Hawaii into a province of the United States. So let's get this pie in the sky idealism out of your head. Okay? The country needs to return to its constitutional roots. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's very plain in here. Very plain. The President shall be Commander-in-Chief of the Army and Navy of the United States and of the militia of the several states. That's all it says. It doesn't say he's Commander-in-Chief all the time either, which some scholars on our side do not believe he should be Commander-in-Chief except in time of war, which is declared by Congress. So, where does that get us? Again, for you veterans out there, it does not belittle what you've done. You have, as that end of that last video said, some gave their all. All gave some, but some gave their all. And a lot of you veterans of combat, I mean real veterans of combat, not the guys that sat back in the Perfume Prince's workshops in Saigon, the guys that actually got out in the bush and hunted Charlie, etc. And I've talked to a lot of you from World War II to the present, and y'all have this notion that you're not heroes. The survivors say that we left all the heroes back there in the cemeteries. We left them back there on Iwo Jima. We left our buddies back. The last time I was told was when we our Plastic Model Club did a display for the Iwo Jima vets. They had a reunion 2 years ago here. No, 3 years ago now. And they told us, we're not the heroes, it's the guys we left behind. No, you're all heroes that were in combat. There's a movie playing on HBO right now, Muhammad Ali, a hero. No. Negative. The veterans of combat are the heroes. Look up heroes, people. It's not just somebody that everybody likes. If that's the case, then Barack Obama would be a hero. Okay? And he doesn't save anybody's life. He has not done anything heroic. He has not put his own life in danger to save others.
Well, he does, but he just doesn't know it.
So, all of you are heroes, living and dead. So, I know why you're doing it. I've studied PTS and post-traumatic stress, and I encourage you all from every war, every veteran of combat, every veteran that has been shot at in any way, shape, or form to talk about it. Unfortunately, a lot of World War II vets kept it inside until they were in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I would encourage you to talk about it. I know why you're not. For the new veterans, I encourage you to talk about your situation. As the book written by Lieutenant Colonel Grossman on combat states very plainly, and he is an expert in the field. And he said, a burden is much better shared. It's much easier to haul that 100-pound sack of concrete if you've got 2 or 3 people to help you. And the same goes for emotional and psychological burdens. So unburden yourself. It will go a long way toward healing. Now, as far as what the government's doing, it's a crime. They had a contract with you. Doesn't matter what the war was fought over. Doesn't matter what. There's still people that are not being classified as having been, such as the folks at Fort Hood that were shot up by that jihadi. They just now got Purple Hearts. They just now decided that they could get a combat decoration, but they're not going to allow them to get veterans combat benefits. What? Wait, they got a Purple Heart. That's prima facie evidence they were in combat. What? That was not workplace violence, people.
Yeah, it was.
Well, it was violence in a workplace, but why did it happen? The guy was a Muslim. He was a Muslim fundamentalist. Obama, Barack Hussein, he was a Muslim fundamentalist. And he attacked American troops. Now, it wasn't terrorism. Terrorism is when innocent people are killed. In time of war, whether it's declared or not, U.S. government has seen fit not to declare the war, but they treat it like it is one sometimes. When bona fide troops of the other side are attacked, that's not terrorism, it's an act of war. But if you got a contract with them, government, you're supposed to take care of those people. And the Veterans Administration claptrap right now, raised by Clinton. Oh, this is beautiful. This is a classic example of Clintonism. Late last week or early this week, maybe over the weekend, she said that there was too much noise being made about the abuses at the VA hospitals.
Isn't that amazing?
She said that this was being blown all out of proportion by the Republicans. And then just yesterday, she said no to privatization of the VA because the problem was too big to be handled by private hospitals. They needed to let the government take care of the problem of the veterans. What? What? Excuse me?
I have no comment on that because we can't say that on TV.
Well, right. It's the VA problems are too big a problem to be handled, yet it's being blown out of proportion. Well, the VA is a major example of what the government is doing to the veterans. And it's the same thing they're doing to civilian retirees that are in nursing homes. They're killing them intentionally to lessen the burden of the pensions. That's bottom line, people. Don't kid yourself. The nursing homes hire the least qualified, the cheapest people they can find. You think that's an accident? Well, they know it's going to work that way because they're for profit, etc. But by the same token, the oversight of these places is abysmal. So the veterans are merely being treated the same way as the old retirees in nursing homes. Don't kid yourself, people. This is the real world we're in. This is the real world. This is not a reality show that is scripted. Anybody see the director around here? Oh.
He's sleeping.
I'm the producer.
That's the time.
And I say what the script's gonna be. And the script is the daily news, peeps. So, don't be afraid to stand up, folks. That's our biggest problem right now, is people are afraid to stand up and take us and do something. You can start coming tomorrow night to the Robichaux Center. But that's okay. Everything will work out. The Republicans will save us. Every once in a while, one of the political Republicans, like Ted Cruz's comments just now, ring true. But usually, Dr. Carson's comments ring true, like they did earlier. Yes?
A stop clock is right twice a day.
That's right. That's right. Just remember about Cruz and the other politicians.
Filled up on somebody who says something correct once.
Yeah. A stop clock is right twice a day, unless it's a military 24-hour or a European 24-hour clock, and then it's only right once a day. So, I mean, Adolf Hitler and Joe Stalin and Mao Zedong said some very profound things. Okay? Yet, we're not going to take them home and introduce them to our daughters anytime soon. So, folks, it's up to you. You have allowed this country to degrade to where it is now by not paying attention throughout history. My parents, their parents, going back a long way. So, let's get something going here, people. I mean, when Hillary can lie, as Dr. Carson said, and the media just kind of glosses over it, can admit she lied at the Benghazi hearings and told her daughter and the, I think it was the Prime Minister of Egypt, that the attack was definitely terrorist. And they have the emails now. Now they've got the emails.
And again, like Pearl Harbor, they knew Barack Obama and her knew the attack was coming.
Knew it was coming and did nothing about it.
The shameful part is he was going to out them on the gun run.
Well, again, there's a reason for all of this.
I shouldn't have said that.
No, you could. There's a reason for all this happening, and it's in a lot of it, especially the older stuff, but a lot of it is in the historical record. A lot of it's hidden, all right? But it's not hidden in places you can't find it if you've got a little drive and intellect to go find it. You could I'd love to write some books, but there's too much to do other than that. So no time for that. Jimbo.
Yeah, we can try.
What you got?
Well,
that's this is the oaths of office are good.
And yeah, we'll do a little bit of this. Today was Veterans Day, and sometimes there's really a blessing that comes with the day. I got invited to Edgar Martin School today, and what a blessing it was. Sitting next to me were three of my grandsons. One who served in the Marine Corps, and the other two that go to school there. And the program was really awesome, and then they played taps. That was not, I can't handle taps.
And I told him he'd never heard the words before, and he hadn't had a chance to. I just told him he needed to look up the words. He won't be able to handle the words either.
But here's the thing. Sitting in there and seeing all the different ages of veterans that were in that room, and watching these children play the different songs and hear the different things. I forget the name of the guy. He does a fishing show on KATC every Friday. He's a 21-year veteran Navy SEAL. And it was quite a talk he gave, and he gave those kids a lesson. But the neat part was my grandson pinning this. You can't see it, but the flag pin on me, and doing that in front of the whole crowd. The only thing is my stepdaughter said I was in the U.S. Army. Which
Infantry.
I forgive her, infantry. No. I went in the Navy to get out of doing that and ended up. And it's a special day. And I have some stuff here. I don't think I'm going to get through it. But what I do want to read is what every military veteran takes when he raises his hand to go in the military. And this is the wordings of the current oath of enlistment and an oath for commissioned officers. And I'll read it. I, Jim Crumling, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. And the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice, so help me God. I want you to understand, with what's going on today, it says, I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. But it says, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
Yeah.
And if it's not by the code, I don't have to obey the President. The officers are, I, so-and-so, having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States as indicated above in the grade of, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter, so help me God. Note there's so help me God. Everything comes from God. Those were important. So then I went one step further. And I said, let me see what the President is supposed, what he's supposed to do. Y'all see, I hope you're sitting down, okay? This is the oath of office for President of the United States. U.S. Constitution, Article 2, Section 1. Before he entered on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. And someone said we needed to change a word in there and said destroy. You understand, this is the oath the President takes. Totally takes. I think in the second half I'll get into the other.
Well, there's something critical about the oath that the President takes. This current President had a problem, and he flubbed it in public. And allegedly, now they say that he took it again in private in the Oval Office. They say he did it again.
That's right, I remember that.
Okay. So, do it?
On Quran?
Well, that's one of the questions. Did he take it on the Bible, or plus, what Bible did he have his hand on? There's some question about that. They think it was, the cover at least looked like a Bible, but again.
What, you know, and then, I mean, in the second half, we'll get into some stuff that I looked up about what is a veteran and all that. But what I want to relate to you, Tom brought it up. I mean, having been in Vietnam and with the River Patrol Force, at 19 years old, 20 years old, there's a lot of things that, first of all, you get over there, and the first day that I was in country coming, let me get the call. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, the second time he took oath of office, didn't he take it out in public? I remember the first one was a flood, but what about the second time?
Yeah, the second one was okay. But see, you could make the legal argument that the first one had priority. Even though he took it again on his second term of office, it was the first time that really.
Yeah, the
that
first
really
time
had meat.
it was really a screwed up deal because supposedly and he
But see, it's
plugged
like-
it and they did it in the back and nobody's sure what happened or if he even
Right.
took it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Okay.
All right, thank you. What, how much time we have?
40 seconds.
Yeah, I'll get into that when we come back, because it leads into some other things.
Yeah.
But it was great today. I went and had, versus a brown bag lunch, I went to the Roadhouse and had a nice steak on them, which is awesome. that they do
Congratulations
that.
to them. The
And,
tech,
you know, the guy sat down and said, "Your bill's taken care of," and I said, "Look, thank you."
Yeah.
And he goes, "No, thank you." And I said, "No, I mean it. This means a lot to every veteran in here that you do this for us every year."
Yeah.
So, you know, it's an appreciation thing in the way this country's
So
been
we can give them,
going.
we can give them a plug for that. It was the Texas Roadhouse.
Texas Roadhouse.